Now, speech. Let us recall the functions of the Broca's, Wernicke's, and all the areas. So all of these things that we have discussed so far will consolidate. Let's us consolidate that. Let's say a person is reading something and making sense of it. So the image will be received in the eye and it will move through all of the visual pathway, optic nerve, chiasm, tract, geniculate body, radiation, and ultimately it will reach to the visual area, the primary visual area. Here the signal is just received and each part is responsible for a particular part of the image from the retina. Then the image, this signal is sent to the association area, and this area makes sense of a lot of things. So this is a book, it is the picture, it is written something, here is your pen. So all of these interpretations are being made as the association cortex. And association cortex, but you can see the letters, you can trace the letters, but here a person is still not able to make sense of what is written in terms of language. So for that the expert is Wernicke's area. The signal has to be sent to the Wernicke's area, so the signal goes to the Wernicke's area. It passes through the angular gyrus that becomes very important in the lesions, I will tell you. And after passing through that, that is the area which is now responsible for deciphering it. It will say that the probable nerve pathway involved in reading. So I'm making sense what I'm, this is through the Wernicke's area. Now you want to say something or you want to just read that statement aloud. How will that occur? The language component will be generated right here. Like verbal nerve pathways. This, the sound that goes in your head, that sound was generated by Wernicke's area. This was sent to the Broca's. The connection was with the Arcuate fasciculus. It was sent to the Broca's, and Broca's area, it translated these three words, verbal nerve pathways, into a series of muscular action, starting from diaphragm, chest wall, larynx, pharynx, palate, tongue, all the way to lips. All of these movements were generated by, the sequence was generated by Broca's area. It sent its signal one by one to the primary motor area, and through different corticonuclear and corticospinal pathways, it ultimately moved the muscles and related articulation. A similar mechanism occurs when you hear something, someone tell you hello, how do you do? You say I'm fine, how do you do? So you hear it with your ear. There is a whole debate of external, middle, inner ear. You can see our lectures in the head and neck series. They go through the auditory pathway, they reach the primary area, it reaches then the secondary association area, and the association area itself breaks down. So someone is talking to you, the bell is ringing, this is the background sound of fan, uh, and so on. But what is someone saying, that is not to be deciphered by the association area alone. For that the signal is sent to the Wernicke's, and the rest of the story is same. Wernicke's will decipher what was said, how do you do, and after sending the signals to the different part of the brain, it will generate its own message, I'm fine, how do you do. This language will be sent through arcuate fasciculus to the Broca's, and here in the Broca's that will be translated into a series of muscular movements, and those muscular movements will be sequentially executed through primary motor areas and the person will speak. So that is how speech works. So how does the lesions come into play? Broca's aphasia or motor aphasia, that occurs when Broca's is damaged. So all this part is now damaged here. This part is damaged here. All the visual pathway till Wernicke's is okay. A person is able to comprehend the written language. Everything from auditory pathway to the Wernicke's area is okay. The person is able to comprehend the auditory language. But, and if he wants to give a reply, he generates the speech correctly. That speech reaches Broca's area correctly, but Broca's area it's not successful in translating it into muscular movements. Depending upon the extent of injury, it may be small or large. He may be able to say a one word, a few words, or nothing at all, depending upon how much is damage. So that is the Broca's aphasia. I would like you to listen to this video, and this is I've taken it from YouTube. This is the person having Broca's aphasia, and as you can see, somewhat this part of the cerebral hemisphere was damaged. That's why she is also having paralysis of the upper limb to the middle cerebral artery. In fact, and you will see her right limb placed on the pillow and not moving as much as compared to the left limb. So I will remove myself and just go through the video.
So Clara, how did you get your injury?
Home. Dizzy. Lightheaded. Fall. Friend. Call 911.
Did you notice that how difficulty she was facing in uttering out the words fall, friend, call, 911? She was not able to make complete sentences, so she was just saying out the most important words because that's how much effort she was having. And that person is, she knows what she's saying. That makes sense. She was being asked a question regarding how did she injure herself or how did it happen. So she said fall, friend, call 911. So it was making sense, but the speech itself was very patchy or non-fluent. So that person is having non-fluent speech, but it is coherent. It is making sense. He can understand written language, he can understand spoken language, but the difficulty is expressing the speech. That is what it is called, expressive aphasia. Here, two more things that you need to keep in mind, that Broca's and Wernicke's, these areas are developed on the dominant side of the hemisphere. You see, her right hand is paralyzed because her left side had a stroke, and she can hear herself back. And Wernicke's area, the signal will reach back to the Wernicke's area, and she will be able to understand that she is having difficulty in speech. So that these people are a little frustrated regarding their inability to express themselves. And the Broca's area on the contralateral aspect, the Broca's area on the non-dominant hemisphere is majorly responsible for judging the tone and music and emotional aspect of the voice rather than the meaning of it, or rather than the generating the tone and up and downs of the voice rather than just saying the words. Fluent receptive aphasia. In this case, the lesion is somewhere here in the Wernicke's area, and the signal reaches fine in the visual cortex. It is interpreted fine, but when it is sent to the Wernicke's area, the language deciphering part does not occur. The person cannot read, cannot comprehend written language. There is alexia, and he will behave like he is reading something alien language, some language that he does not know. Similarly, when he hears something, the signal will just fine. The person will turn towards you. He will receives the same information in the association cortex. He will understand that the someone is speaking. It's not the bell ringing, but he will look at you with a blank face because he is unable to comprehend the language aspect of that sound. He will be unable to understand what is being said to him. So there is incomplete, there is inability to comprehend written language. There is inability to comprehend written language. And there is inability to generate good language or generate right language, because now this area is damaged. She wanted to say that I don't understand what you are saying, but that sentence is not generated like it should be. It's all jumbled up. There may be new sequitous neologism, this is new words, traveling speech. So all of this messed up message is sent to the Broca's area, which is working fine. So it just runs that messed up message or that nonsense language message. So when talking about comprehension, that person is unable to comprehend written language, that person is unable to comprehend heard language. The person will talk fluently, but his fluent talk will not make any sense. And when his signal goes back to his ears, he will still reach to the Wernicke's area. He will not know that he is making nonsense talk, because what reaches back to his ears cannot be deciphered again in the Wernicke's area. So those people are usually unaware of the deficit and show no distress. And because here in this area, part of the visual pathway, the Mayer's loop is passing, so sometimes there is a supralateral quadrianopia in those patients too. And lesion in the non-dominant hemisphere leads to an ability to recognize rhythm and pitch. So here I would like to again you to listen another video from YouTube, and that is the fluent aphasia. Try to figure out what question was asked of him and what answer he is giving. He seems very confident answering it, and if you did not know any English, you will say he is speaking very confidently and very fine. But if you try to listen to it, you will see that he's not making sense. He's not answering what he was asked of him.
Hi, Byron. How are you?
I'm happy. Are you pretty? You look good.
What are you doing today?
We stayed with the water over here at the moment and talked with the people for them over there. They're diving for them at the moment. They'll save in the moment. He'll have water very soon for him. With luck for him.
So we're on a cruise and we're about to
We
get to
will
Juneau.
store it right here and they'll save their hands right there for them.
And what were we just doing with the iPad?
Right at the moment, they don't show a darn thing.
With the iPad that we were doing. Like here?
I'd like my change for me and change hands for me. It would happen. I would talk with Donna sometimes. We're out with them. Other people are working with them. I'm very happy with them.
Good.
This girl was very good and happy when I play golf and hit the world last few.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
So he knew what he wanted to say, and he's a very less severe case. He was making sense here and there, but not completely. In extreme cases, the person does not make any sense at all. He was a relatively milder form of a case, but you get an idea. Then there is conduction aphasia, that is the lesion of this part, the arcuate fasciculus, this part, that part that carries the signal from the vernix to the Broca's area. The lesion of this, if that is only there, then all the pathway to the vernix are okay. The person will be able to comprehend the written language, the person will be able to comprehend the heard language, the speech, the person will be able to generate a proper language response in his mind. But when that message is sent to the Broca's, in the pathway, in the way to the Broca's area, that message gets damaged, that message gets all jumbled up. So his speech will be like that of a Wernicke's area damaged person. He will be, because the language generated will lead to Broca's area, there will be nonsense message reaching there, but that nonsense message will be run smoothly. So that person will be fluent in speaking but will not make any sense. So he will be fluent speaking, not make any sense, and his comprehension will be known. So there will be inability to repeat words, poor naming of object, and inability to execute a verbal command. because they fully understand that they are having a problem, because when they are making this nonsense speech, they hear themselves and the vernix, and it goes all the way till vernix area, and they know that they are not making sense, that they wanted to make a statement, but that statement did not come out as they wanted it to be. So that's conduction aphasia. Here I want, these are the three major items. So you should be able to discern between motor aphasia. Person will completely understand the written language, the heard language, and in terms of expressing it, there will be non-fluency, but it will make sense. In Wernicke's area, the person will not be able to understand the written, will not be able to understand the spoken language, will look at it or listen to it like some there is something in foreign language, and he will speak fluently, but his fluent speech will not make any sense. And conduction aphasia, the speech will be like that of Wernicke's, fluent, making no sense, but comprehension will be okay like that of Broca's, because the areas themselves are okay. So comprehension of a language, written and auditory, will be okay. Here I would like to add the languages gotten to you in other forms like the sign language, and through the touch like the braille language, they are also deciphered in the Wernicke's area. The person is unable to read braille after that damage. The person is unable to interpret sign language after that. And similarly, Broca's not only helps in speaking, it helps in writing too, language, the muscular component of writing too, the sign language too. So that person will be having difficulty in making the signs, while he will having difficulty in making writing, have difficulty in writing, but ultimately will write something, it will make sense. So that is to be translated into the other forms of language too. This is a picture that I got from, I have given the reference in the topic below. So this is a roadmap of how you can figure out where the area damage is. I have not discussed the transcortical areas. The transcortical sensory aphasia is due to the loss of connections of the Wernicke's area. The transcortical motor aphasia is due to the loss of connections of Broca's area, the Broca's area intact. Transcortical mixed aphasia will be a mixture of that. So a person is fluent or not. If a person is fluent, that means the Wernicke's is that Broca's is okay. If you understand Broca's, or Broca's connections are okay. If he understands or not, if he does not understand, that means Wernicke's and its connections may be damaged. So if he can repeat, then this is transcortical sensory aphasia. If he cannot repeat, it is Wernicke's aphasia. The three major items that we discussed, the Wernicke's, the Broca's, the Arcuate fasciculus, the damage of these areas will lead to the loss of ability of repeating words. So if a person is fluid, means Broca's is okay. If person is understanding, that means Wernicke's is okay. If Wernicke's and Broca's are okay, then there may be disruption in the conduct in the arcuate fasciculus, the part that is connecting the two. There will be conduction aphasia. If he cannot repeat, then this is arcuate fasciculus. If he can repeat, anomic aphasia, it is due to some other areas. If a person is not fluent, that means the Broca's or its connections are damaged. So that's given. If he understand, that means Wernicke's is okay, and cannot repeat, then it is Broca's aphasia. Broca's non-functional, Wernicke's functional, so inability to repeat. But if can repeat, then the Broca's itself is okay, but it's isolated from the other area. So there is transcortical motor aphasia. If a person does not understand, that means Broca's is damaged. Wernicke's is damaged. The person is not fluent, that means Broca's is damaged. If does not understand, that means Broca's is damaged. Both are damaged and cannot repeat, that means he has global aphasia. All of Wernicke's and Broca's both are damaged. If he can repeat, that means there are other areas, connection of these areas are damaged, that lead to intact repetition circuit, but the comprehension is lost. You can see this picture from BRS board review series, giving the same information, might be